Yeah, I'm Lukas. I'm from Safe, formerly known as Gnosis Safe. And I'm going to talk about account abstraction. And actually, Michael from Open Zeppelin in the panel before was giving like the best pitch, so I'm going to save like 2 minutes of my talk. But for the people that missed it, the idea behind account abstraction is really to make Web3 as usable as Web 2 is. So basically, Michael was saying like his father should be able to use Web 3 without all the technical lingo, with all the onboarding hassles of like storing a seed phrase and like handling transaction fees and all of that. And that's really how we feel at Safe about the future of Web 3. And that's also what we think is going to be the next step for Safe. But before we go into the future, let's look a little bit at the past. If that works. It doesn't? Thank you. So where are we now? So we've been building Safe Wallet for the last 5 years, I think. Safe Wallet really was like a project that we had to build internally as we needed it ourselves. So Gnosis did the ICO in 2017. And they had to suddenly like store a lot of digital assets, and they just didn't find the right solution for them to do so. They wanted something that was fully self-custodial, but also super secure. So Gnosis built Safe Wallet, multi-signature wallet that's useful for teams because they can have an account be controlled by multiple private keys instead of just one private key, which you should never share with other people. So yeah, Gnosis open sourced the project, and it got adopted by the ecosystem. Others used it. It was used by other like Web3 projects. It was used by DAOs, but then also over time increasingly by like Web 2.5 projects like Shopify, or even by individuals. Like I think Vitalik Buterin is storing all his ETH on Safe Wallet, so it became adopted throughout. We deployed Safe Wallet on 12 different networks, plus some test nets. And these are just numbers that like are mind-boggling from my perspective. Like 4 million transactions, that's one thing, but like $39 billion worth of assets that are secured through Safe today, with 1.5 million accounts that are created. And just to put this number into perspective, I mean, the amount of assets secured through Safe is bigger than entire DeFi ecosystem together. So every DeFi application deployed on Ethereum, BSC, Arbitrum, Polygon, all of their TVL combined, it's still smaller than Safe. And some other numbers that are just crazy. More than 10% of all USDC is on Safe. More than 2 million ETH is on Safe. Last week, almost 1% of all gas consumed on Ethereum Layer 1 was consumed through Safe transactions, and like major NFT collections are by a big part secured through Safe. Yeah, but we think we make quite some progress, but we're kind of still at the beginning because now we think in the future most people will use Safe without even knowing that they use Safe, use the benefits that smart contract accounts provide. The security benefits, but also UX benefits. And that's what account abstraction is about. And that's why today we announced Safe Core, which is basically what we're building in Safe Wallet, but provided for developers, to developers. So developers can take what we've been building in the last years and build their own account abstraction wallets, their own asset management solutions, and experiences on top of it. So Safe Core is a full stack developer suite. It involves, of course, the Safe protocol, but also a public API that just facilitates developing on Safe, and also a new SDK that we released. And so Safe protocol, that's something most people actually don't know. Safe is not just multisig. It's a programmable account. It allows for like additional logic that can be encoded as modules or guards which add additional access to safes or additional security properties. And you can build with Safe all kinds of different solutions like spending limits. You can benefit from batching transactions to facilitate better UX. You can have on-chain guarantees such as allow or deny lists that every transaction has to go through in order to be executed. all kinds of things can be built. So that was Safe Protocol. That was already out there, but something new we have is Safe API, which allows developers to query data about safes, get balances, get like transaction histories. Just this makes it easier to build front ends on top of Safe Protocol. And now the really new thing or cool thing is the Account Abstraction SDK, which we released. Which kind of is the one thing we think will most developers use to take advantage of safe accounts. And we've built this in a very modular way. So we partnered with different projects in the ecosystem to create these kits that just take some parts of like the onboarding journey or the custody journey from the user. And so what we really want to achieve with that, or what we've done is we've partnered with these 3 projects, Web3Auth, Stripe, and Gelato, to have sort of like an end-to-end Web 2-like onboarding experience. So the idea is a user comes to your application, the user doesn't have any wallet so far, they don't have any crypto, and what they do is they just log in through Google, through Web3Auth, they get like an MPC wallet to hand, which controls actually a safe account under the hood. They don't even know that there is a safe, but as mentioned, I think this is what most users in the future how they will interact with us. So the user then has a wallet, but they just logged in with a social login like Google, and then they navigate throughout the app. Can be a Web3 game, for example, can be an NFT marketplace. And once they do transactions, they don't have to deal with all the complexities of transaction fees, have like the proper gas limits, etc. But the dApp actually subsidizes transactions for them through Gelato, so they can just use the application like a Web 2 application and don't have these friction points that usually occur. And then third, once the user does a payment inside the app, could be buying an NFT, could be something like in-game, getting some in-game assets. They don't have to first get assets through an exchange onto their wallet, so do an on-ramp, but they can just pay for it with a credit card. Using Stripe, the funds get automatically on-ramped and get to their account, and then from there are used for the transaction. Yeah, and so that's a few examples that the Account Abstraction SDK provides, but the idea is that this is really like a modular SDK where developers can use as much or as little as they want. They can use some aspects such as the gasless experience that they provide to users. They can just leverage the battle-tested security of the Safe Protocol. They can do transaction batching, for example, to have multiple transactions be bundled together. They can just use the authentication mechanism through social logins. Yeah. And for us, this is really just the beginning. The idea is to kind of expand this SDK with new features such as recovery mechanisms or better multi-chain support. And by doing that, we don't just want to have one provider for each of these use cases, but actually make it open and have multiple options for developers. So a developer wants to use maybe Stripe, but another one wants to use Ramp as an on-ramp. Yeah, some users or some developers might want to use Gelato for relaying. Others prefer a more decentralized option such as ERC-4337. And the idea is to kind of progressively expand the scope of the SDK to allow for optionality for the developer and more flexibility. Yeah. So we, for kind of kickstarting the development around the SDK, we started a hackathon today, which is a month-long online hackathon. So anyone that doesn't have enough hacking after ETHDenver is free to just continue there. We partnered with a few great projects in the ecosystem, including Coinbase, Stripe, Gelato. You see them all there. 50K in bounties. And yeah, just the entire month. You can start now, you can start in the middle of the month, however you want. Yeah, and if you want to learn more, go to core.safe.global. If you want to build on SafeCore or if you want to be integrated, get in touch, happy to talk. We're really getting started, so any feedback is valuable. Yeah, we want to. Yeah, it's our contribution towards account abstraction, having a better developer experience and a kind of more modular ecosystem. And yeah, excited about the future. And yeah, thanks for being here.
Thanks. I think there's still a lot of like applications today that don't work well with Safe, right? Like Blur or OpenSea. It's like tough to get things signed. What do you think it takes to kind of move more people towards smart contract wallets rather than EOAs?
I mean, one thing that definitely helps is the recent hype around account abstraction. So it's more top of mind for developers as well. But besides that, I think it's really once retail is adopting smart contract wallets. Because right now you've seen like the adoption is already quite big with Safe, but these are usually more like the people or entities that are more security focused, that need just the maximum security and have like a lot of funds to store. And then for the dApp developers, it's like, okay, I have this one quite wealthy user, or I have this 99 other users that are kind of screaming on Twitter, and like we need to get the 99% to use smart contract wallets, so that the dApp developers also feel the pressure to provide the support. I think it's definitely getting better. I think more dApps are now realizing that they need to allow for smart contract signed messages, and like they need to handle also like asynchronous transactions, because with an EOA, every transaction you get immediately a transaction receipt, but with a smart contract wallet, it can take, with a multi-sig, maybe days. And yeah, I think we're just getting to like some inflection point at some point where dApps will just provide smart contract wallet support out of the box. I think we're close.